we are a little bit late, but it's still time to talk about some indie releases that either came to us already in August 2024 or are still coming towards the end of the month. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is all about the indie releases that, like I said, either came our way or are still coming our way in August 2024. I do apologize, this one is a little bit late because I was traveling for a lot of the month and have only come back last night at about midnight on the 20th. So, let's get this out there. There are heaps of really exciting releases that have come out. I know my Kindle has been getting updated with a bunch of pre-orders that I put in, so let's have a chat about them today. Before we jump into the video, make sure you're checking that description box down below for links to my social media and Discord, should you want to come along for the ride. Now, as always, this list does not come from me. This one does come from Rob J. Hayes over on his blog, which I'll have linked down below. If you have a release coming out within the SFF sphere for the remainder of 2024 and beyond, make sure you're checking out those lists because you can go ahead and put your book on there, and I'll give it a video platform each and every month. Now, we do have a few that weren't on the list that I've tried to go and find, so there are a few extras in here as well. Let's start with August 1st, shall we, which is a big release day, or was a big release day, I should say, starting with Amethysts and Alchemy by Rachel Renner. This is an urban fantasy, historical fantasy, and cozy fantasy with some neurospicy representation. It says, I used to eat rocks as a child. The family doctor diagnosed me with pica, dooming me 2 years of intensive therapy and extensive dentistry work. It wouldn't be until much later that I would understand the all-consuming, insatiable craving that spurred me to eat a variety of rocks and minerals wasn't a mental disorder, but an innate gift that allows me to extract the magic contained inside them. Tourmaline for speed, Celestite for strength, Augite for a powerful laxative effect that I had to discover the hard way. 20 years later, I've hidden my abilities beneath a white lab coat, working as a small-town pharmacist who creates proprietary naturopathic, I hope that's how you pronounce it, tonics that treat everything from memory loss to erectile dysfunction. Those tonics in turn fund my expensive lifestyle of solo flying around the world to search for more rocks. What more could an airplane-loving, mineral-munching, magical alchemist want? Unfortunately, my arch nemesis Heath Spencer has recently taken it upon himself to single-handedly ruin my life. No longer content with annoying me from afar, which, with his overpriced, tacky rock shop, Heath has decided to further antagonize me by dangling the opportunity of a lifetime right in front of my face, traveling to an ancient copper mine in China which is home to some of the rarest and most stunning minerals on Earth. It's not until after I'm trapped halfway across the world, my least favorite person on the planet, that I'm forced to come face to face with three terrible realizations. Everything I thought I knew about Heath Spencer is wrong. Some minerals were never meant to be ingested, and worst of all, I'm not the only one who's been keeping secrets. I've heard some really good things about this cozy fantasy. I believe it's somewhat spicy. Rachel Renner has a few of the spicy series out there, but look at the little pig on the front. The cover, of course, is up there. I need to know. I need to know about this little pig animal companion. Also, on the 1st of August, we had the Starless Girl. This is the Realm of Camellia. Number 1 by Liz Delton. This is YA. Kira Savage is cursed. A tragic loss, a new town, and now creatures made of darkness are after her. But amid the darkness, she begins to see a mysterious white light all around her, one that leads her to a strange door in the woods. With a dark creature on her heels, she has no choice but to go through. Kira finds herself in the realm of light and the realm of Camellia. Here, Kira can learn to harness light magic to protect herself, which she'll need to learn fast because there's more dark creatures coming, and they seem drawn to her. When a local spirit promises answers about Kira's murky past, she gets caught up in a dangerous path of decades-long feud between light and shadow magic. Will she find the answers about her past, or will darkness consume the realm? Also, on August 1st, we have a Book 2, Mistlight, the Enigma Lights Book 2 by J.A. Andrews, an author I really need to start reading, and I own one of the whole trilogy on Audible. I just need to start reading it. This is epic fantasy, and it looks like this. It is a Book 2, so we will need to move on. Also, on August 1st, we had the paperback released of an Advent of Winter anthology by various artists. We have a whole bunch of fantastic authors in this anthology, which came out around Christmas time last year. I backed the Kickstarter. The physical edition is beautiful, so you want to go ahead and grab a copy of this for your shelves. 24 authors, 24 stories, one unique advent calendar. Step into the magical realms of the advent of winter, where 24 self-published authors craft enchanting tales that will transport you to a realm of frost-kissed wonders. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I'm going to read it in December with a whole bunch of people from the other side of the world, even though in Australia it's very, very hot in December. But I'm hoping to get to this one and read it like a lot of people were last year with the one story a day and use it as an advent calendar. Also on the 1st of August, we had Betrayal. This is by A.C. Cobble with Warhite, book number 4. I think that's how you pronounce it. It may not be. Don't quote me on that. The truth is a weak thing. It has no power. The only power the truth holds is the power we grant it. Now, this is an author I'm very interested in reading at some point. I think this is a series that I do want to start with, and we have a book 4, so there's plenty to sink my teeth into. On the 2nd of August, we have one of my favorite covers of the year that came out with a Dirge for Cassius. This is by Callum Lott, and it looks like this, which is just insane. Such a cool cover. Chaos seeps into the Valsolis galaxy. Sorry in advance for pronunciations of this one. Cassius Karkide is on the brink of letting his addiction to relieving his sorrows claim his mind. When the sages demand he take a new partner, Cassius must forfeit his old ways in order to solve the twisted Red Hand murders. To unravel an interstellar mystery and stop the Red Hand, Cassius must pull himself from the very depths of despair and learn to change before the entire Vel-Utra falls into oblivion. Stare too long into the abyss, and the abyss peers back. True Detective meets Hyperion in an epic space opera debut, perfect for fans of James S.A. Corey, and Christopher Rocchio. So this is a duology, and we've got part 1. It looks like that. I'm really excited to get to this one. I'm craving a bit of space opera, so maybe I'll pick this one up sooner rather than later. On the 5th of August, we had The Dragon Who Dabbled in Crypto by T.W. Allen. What a title. This is urban fantasy and horror, and we've got the dragon with like coins on it, which I don't know why that amuses me so much, but it does. It says, an attempt to blow the whistle on a cryptocurrency scam drew a botched assassination attempt by supernatural means. Management brought in a consultant to fix the problem, but a trail of scorch marks from incinerated bodies leads into a web of demonic financial crimes, purloined precious metals, and esports game fixing. What is the secret of the Schatzhord das Draken? Coin, and will it lead to Mr. Lewis? And will it lead Mr. Lewis into the lair of the dragon who dabbled in crypto? What an interesting concept. I'm intrigued. If anyone picks that up, please let me know. On the 6th of August, we have Demon by the man himself. This is by Rob J. Hayes, and it is the Archive of the God Eater, book number 1. So this is part of the 3-book set that was done on Kickstarter last year. I've just received my physical copies. You might be able to see them on top of the classics over there. And this is the last one to be released from that set. Dane Hustain was never meant to lead. She wasn't meant to survive. Kind of heart and quick in temper, Dane expects to lead a simple life, learning her father's trade. But, unbeknown to her, he was not always a carpenter. He's an exile, a traitor once known as the Peacebreaker. When nightmarish demons attack the village of Berry Whistle, her father is murdered. Dane and the other survivors are taken as thralls to live out the rest of their days in squalor and back-breaking labor. But Deanne's blood boils with the need to escape and take her revenge. Then they try to break her body, they try to break her spirit. Will Deanne take up her father's hammer and unite her people? On wings of vengeance, a saint shall rise. All of these books in this first lot of these series sound fantastic, and I cannot wait to dive in. On the 7th of August, we have Magic Kingdom at War, book number 4 by Tao Wong, who is releasing one of these a month. I'm thinking it seems that way anyway from when I do these lists, which is just insanity. So this is a book 4, it looks like this, and we'll have to move on from there. On the 8th of August, we have one of the cutest covers that I've ever seen, and this is Miss Percy's Definitive Guide to the Restoration of Dragons. This is the Miss Percy Guide, book number 3 by Quenby Olsen, and this is cozy fantasy, and I believe there's a bit of romance in these books as well. It says Miss Mildred Percy has no wish to go to London. These are pretty high on my radar. They look really cute. When I'm digging a fantasy, or a cozy fantasy, I should say, vibe, I might jump into these ones, but I know a lot of people have enjoyed this one already this month. On the 9th of August, we have Age of Arrogance by Timothy Wolfe. This is the conclusion to the trilogy of the Legacy of the Bullum. Bullum book 3. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And it looks like this. I can't wait to get to this series because I love lizards so much. There is some lizard goodness in this series here, but I know a lot of people have picked this one up and have really enjoyed the conclusion to the trilogy, or are currently enjoying the conclusion to the trilogy. So I'm looking to getting to this one as well myself some point soon, which means anytime in the next decade. On August 14th, we had The Other Battle by Derek Smythe. This is book 3 to Passage to Dawn, and it looks like this. I'm very intrigued by what I think is a dragon in the corner up here. We're looking out over a city. Love me some desert fantasy, and we look like we're in a bit of a desert setting, but it is a book 3, so we will have to move on from there. Also on August 14th, we had The Body in the Larder. This is the Alchemist Agent book number 4 by E.M. Burnham, and I really enjoy this cover. It's very simple, but it's got the pops of color just really draw my eye to what is happening in it. So even though it's like a simple design of like a kitchen, I feel like I'm taking it all in, and it's quite delightful. It says dead men can't rob themselves, which, is true. I'd be fairly impressed if they could. On the 15th of August, we had Blood of Midgard. This is the Army of One, book number 1 by Baptiste Pinson Wu, and this one is a historical fiction, which I've thrown in here because I knew it was releasing in August, and it is a self-published author as well. It says the end is near, the war is just beginning. It says Ragnarok's shadow looms over Asgard. The gods grow fearful, and Odin, in a desperate attempt to fill the benches of Valhalla with more slain heroes, sends his elite warriors to Midgard to spark conflicts. Drake, their leader, would rather fight to prevent the end of the world before it began, for Munin, Odin's daughter, is fated to die during the last great battle. But as Drake and his brothers strive to accomplish Odin's will on Midgard, a plan born in darkness of Loki's cell and acted upon by someone close to Drake is set in motion. The snares tightens around Drake, and every step the warrior takes toward the woman he loves in secret brings Ragnarok closer. So I know of a few people in my circles that love a bit of Norse fantasy or Norse historical fiction, and this one is going to be right up their alley. On the 15th of August, we have another historical fantasy, which is The Deluding of Gylfi, I want to say, which is the Ragnarok Prophecy book number 1 by Matt Larkin, another author I really need to get to. I'm pretty sure I say that every time that I read Matt Larkin's name on here. But this one says, he was a god, he was a king, a necromancer, a shaman, a prophet. From out of the mist he came, his name whispered in awe and dread, for Odin cast himself as god of man. Oh, we've got another Odin. But behind the illusion and the lies, Odin too was once a man, in an age of ice and an era of mist. With his blood brother Loki by his side, Odin wanted only to protect his people from the soul-stealing mist and its denizens. But when a vision of Ragnarok shows him the end of the world, he is forced to accept a terrible truth. In the face of extinction of mankind, any action, any deception, no matter how vile, is needful if it might avert the end. So Odin will kill, will lie, will use men in his ceaseless schemes, because the price of his failure is unthinkable. So we have 2 Norse-inspired books coming out on the 15th of August, or have come out at this point on the 15th of August. On the 17th of August, we have Snakebitten by Joanna Macy Juska. This is Shadows of Ireland, book number 3, and I'm hearing good things about this series. It's not the series I'm going to start with personally for this author, but I am hearing good things about people who have I'm hearing good things by people. I'm hearing good things from people. Wow. I haven't filmed in like 2 weeks. I'm hearing good things from people who have read this book. So, or this series, I should say. So I'm hoping that people are enjoying book number 3 when it comes out. On the 20th of August, we have Return, The Cost of Power, book number 1 by Joyce Reynolds Ward, and this is a sci fantasy entry. It says tough situations demand tough choices. Despite being a high-level heir and potentially the next leader of the Martiniere family and the Martiniere group, Gabrielle Martiniere testified against the group's abusive use of mind control technology on military indebtedness. That's the wrong word that I've just said. Anyway, but his testimony was compromised, and he risked being killed if he didn't go into hiding. Then his idyllic exile on an isolated northeastern Oregon ranch is endangered by a true crime show that will reveal his real identity and pose a threat to those he has grown to love. Plus, the family wants Gabe back. Not only has the group's mind control tech been stolen by Gabe's cousin Joey and sold to their biggest competitor, but the family is under threat from digital thought clones that cross universes as well as supernatural elements tied to the family's fabled descent from a European water spirit, Melusine. Melusine? He can't just walk away from his beloved Ruby and their grandfather and her grandfather, but if he doesn't leave, how much danger does he put them in? Gabe's love, Ruby Barkley, is an agtech whiz determined to develop her vision of field nanobiobots that gather data and improve plant survival in heat and drought conditions. She knows her way around nanobots, not just agriculture focused, but in other uses. What will happen when she learns who Gabe really is? And will the I'm not wearing my glasses. And will the aristocratic family accept her, or will they reject her as a hick, hayseed rodeo queen? Big decisions lie ahead of Ruby and Gabe. The fate of the multiverse rests on the choices they make. They will potentially gain a lot of power, but even the right decisions demands a price, eventually. That one sounds rather interesting. Quite a mix of genre blends in there. On August 20th, we have Time Marked Warlock. This is by Shami Staval, yet another author that I really do need to read at some point in my lifetime. And this is the Chronicles book number 1. And this is an urban fantasy / progression cultivation, or cozy fantasy, if you will. And I really like the cover that we have on this one. Adair Finch is the most powerful warlock in the world, and one of the best private investigators for hire. He has dealt with corporate vampires, murderous werewolves, and even Fey royalty. Everything was perfect until he lost one case, the case where he also lost his brother. So, Finch retired from magic, from PI work, from everything. Bree Blackstone, a 12-year-old witch, doesn't know or care about any of that except Finch's reputation. In the middle of the night, she bangs on Finch's door. Her mother had been murdered, and now the assassin is after Bree as well. Reluctantly, Finch agrees to help, only to discover something sinister has been brewing in town while he ignored the world. He'll need to dust off his old skills and magic before it's too late. Sounds like a great urban fantasy story that we have there. On the 22nd of August, we had The Barbarian by Casey Hollingshead. This is a grimdark sword and sorcery tale in the series called The Battle Brothers, book number 3. It's got quite an intriguing art style on the cover. I don't know if I love it, but I also don't hate it. I think it definitely draws the eye to what's happening in there with the three-headed beastie on the back there. But it is a book 3, so we will need to move on. Also on the 23rd, we had Upscaled, The Dragons of Nora, book 1 by Joseph John Lee, jumping into a YA cozy fantasy scene. And this cover is just adorable. It begins and ends, as things do, with a girl throwing a birthday party for a dragon, or it would if things were ever that simple. Generations ago, the Inquisition of the Priory of the Thrice-Dead Prophet decided that dragons were a great evil, and it was their duty to banish them from the land of Nora. The dragons weren't, they just grew tired of the bother and migrated north, and the Inquisition didn't, they just pretended otherwise, but that's beside the point. Though evidence of dragons still existed, it remained within the realms of smugglers, ne'er-do-wells, and people with too much time and money on their hands, until a hatching egg finds its way into the hands of a young girl named Alice. Alice? Probably pronounced that incorrectly. Apologies. Now, with the first newborn dragon seen in generations in her company, Alice finds herself beset by merchants, brigands, inquisitors, and a greedy governor, and all she wants to do is throw a birthday party for her dragon. That sounds adorable. And you thought planning a party for your kids was tough. This sounds really cozy. I've heard good things through the grapevine, and I don't know, it just looks adorable. On the 27th of August, we have Flames of Gold by Liz Delton, and this is such a cool cover. Legends of Gold and Silver, book number 1 in the epic fantasy realm. The Silver Swords have held Titan in an iron fist for centuries. That fist has crushed the last hope for the continent. After quitting mage training, Fire Mage Fig thought her dealings with the Crown and the ruthless Silver Swords who rule Titan were over. That is until she's summoned by her old friend, Prince Dervin Verence, and his father is dead, betrayed by the Silver Sword Enclave. And now Dev is on the run, a king without a throne. They'll need to escape Titan on a quest for allies, because it won't just be the throne of Titan they're fighting for, but the fate of the continent, and the freedom of mages everywhere. That cover and that premise has definitely got me intrigued. It looks and sounds amazing. On the 28th of August, we have Of Secrets and Solace by Alyssa Marin. This is the Children of Fate, book number 1, and it's got epic fantasy, grimdark, and romance elements in it. In a world dominated by war and the relentless pursuit of truth, how far would you go? What secrets would you keep to protect that which you hold most dear? Illyria was once home to the gods. It has been a millennia since the gods were imprisoned in Meru by fate, but wisps of their magic remain embedded in the blood of humans, some with the ability to wield that magic, and others with the ability to store it. Rulers of the free territories are forced to ally together or fall alone in a bid to protect their territories from a growing conflict between the descendants of Chaos and Solace, one that threatens to boil over completely. And to finish us off, we have the Astray Chosen. This is book 2 in the Theedra, I probably pronounced both those incorrectly, sorry, trilogy, written by Laura Huey. I did the cover reveal for this one a couple of weeks ago, and it's a series that just sounds like a lot of fun. They both need to find the gods, he to save the country, her to kill them. But it's a book 2, so I can't give too much more away, but the cover looks like that. Those are the releases that we have had for August of 2024. Are you excited for any of these? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.